Good afternoon, Stitch Roadies. Well, I'm back home for a bit, and I just wanted to check in with you all. I have been enjoying reading all of the comments on the last video, and to follow up, I want to be sure that at the end of this video will be a posted winner of the Fat Quarter Shop's donation of the, let's get it out here, beautiful mesh bag and that wonderful printed fabric, all the floss drops for their autumn stitch quarterly. So be sure you check at the end. So what have I been up to? Well, let me just say, I've been up to a lot. I have been up to a lot. I just got back from a trip to celebrate my sister's birthday. We are both October babies, and I am continuing to celebrate the rest of the month. It's interesting. I loved reading the comments, and thank you for all of your comments. It is very enjoyable. I sometimes don't get a chance to answer them all, but I do read them all, and they are on many levels thought-provoking. I enjoy the month of October for so many reasons. Not only is it my sister and my birthday, but it has that feel of fall usually, and Halloween happens during that month. So yeah, October's a great month. Our trip down was very interesting. So today is going to be a little bit of show and tell, a whole lot of chit chat. So if you want to hang in there, get yourself something to drink. So I decided, I not only had a wonderful birthday celebration here, which I already shared with you, but I intended to go down to my sister's home and celebrate with her also. We decided to take Penny and enjoy the trip down, and like sometimes in life, you have to be really flexible. What was going to be a really relaxing trip down and back turned into somewhat of a on the go, because schedules change, things happen. I actually had to have an eye appointment. I have an issue with one eye, and I had an eye appointment. I mean, it was going to be put off for, a couple months or so, and I knew it was something that needed to be seen. So I asked the scheduler, what happens if I'm out of the area and I have a need for a doctor? And so she actually looked up on her calendar, her schedule, and found a doctor within our medical system that was in a city that was south of us, along the interstate we would be driving. Yeah, go figure. So I had an appointment with an eye doctor in another city, and it was quite lovely because we had, he was a young man, and we had some connection to an area where I used to go skiing as a teenager, and that is where he grew up. So it was kind of fun chit-chatting with him. And because we are Harvest Host members, which I've talked about before, I called up a winery that we stay at, we have stayed at before, and asked them if it was possible for us to stay, even though kind of the season was winding down, and they said sure. Well, unbeknownst to us, we were the only ones in the winery. So here's this gorgeous winery, beautiful day, and they gave us an emergency number if we needed to get out of the winery property. And they lock the gates at 6 p.m. and they open them back up at 6:30. So G and I had this entire winery to ourselves, and it was just what the doctor ordered, because it was so peaceful. We bird watched, we walked all over the winery. You could hear a pin drop in the middle of the night. It was so quiet. Yeah, because it was so far off the beaten path. And oh, I love it. I absolutely love it. The next night, though, not so relaxing. So the next night, we traveled further south, and the doctor had given me prescription for medicine for my eye, and we traveled further south and stopped at another winery, and it was charming. It was charming. I mean, the building where they have the wine tasting and all of that kind of thing made you feel like you were in Tuscany. It was the environment, the painting, yeah, it was just beautiful. And we were parked right in front of a big pond with swans and geese and the whole bit. She did warn us that they were going to have a music, a band, I think it was a jazz band, playing in the facility that night, and we were welcome to come. But we were pooped, so we passed on that. Well, once we parked, at least 3 other RVs came in. So this time we weren't totally by ourselves, but that's okay. It's still a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful place. What happened, though, was the next morning, I heard like a lot of cars coming in and driving by. And it's kind of like there's only one way into this one winery and then one way out. And there was like one car after another. So I got out of bed and I looked out the back window, and I thought, are they actually going to be harvesting today? I was trying to figure out what was going on, because it did look like some of the people were there to pick grapes. So I told G to wake up. I told him to wake up, and I said, I think we might want to leave earlier than later, because I think they're going to be harvesting today, and it might be a lot of activity. So he got up to make coffee, and it was like a traffic jam. And then I realized someone was parking right directly behind us, like we couldn't get out if we wanted to. And so I opened the door, and it was a young woman out there, and I said, "Hey, are you going to be leaving your car there? Because we're going to be pulling out." And she says, "No, it's just here for a minute." And I said, "What's going on?" Well, it was a marathon. It was starting at that winery. And I told G, I said, "We have got to pack up and get the heck out of Dodge before this gets going, or we're going to be caught in the fray of it all." So again, I am so happy that we, at this point in our lives, are happy and contented with our van, because we were able to pack up and pull out within 10 minutes. And the Class A that was parked across the road from us, they were boxed in. There was no way for them to get out. And then there were a couple of other trailers that they were going to have to follow the runners, because when we pulled out, there were people already on all the corners. I've run a marathon, so I know the environment and how exciting, and the family members with all their cameras and stuff, and they were like on every corner of this country road, every turn on this country road in this vineyard, and we were like pulling out just ahead of start time. I can't tell you. So that second night wasn't quite as relaxing. And then because we forgot a couple of things that would help us in staying at my sister's house, we ended up having to sleep in the van, which was kind of funny, because what that's called, when you sleep in someone's driveway in an RV, it's called mooch docking. I just love that. So for the first time, I was mooch docking. And so I texted my girlfriend, because my sister lives in quite a nice area, and I said, if one more RV pulls up, I know we're going to get a knock on the door from the constabulary. But we mooch docked for a couple of days, and it was absolutely wonderful, and wonderful to see my sister and her whole family gathering for her celebration of her birthday, and see all her grandkids. It was, yeah, family. So our trip home, we ended up camping at a KOA. We wanted hookups, and we ended up, because our batteries were starting, the solar wasn't keeping up. There wasn't quite enough sun. And so we camped at a KOA, and that trip home, the trip down was exhausting, but the trip home was very exhausting. I had no idea that I-5 with the mountain passes and the enormous amount of semi-trucks is exhausting. It is exhausting. We were very happy to pull in and relax. So that's what I've been doing this last week, and it was a blessing. It was a blessing. I hope all of you have been having a good time. I know several people I know have been having health issues, and I just, one foot in front of the other. One foot in front of the other. So when I decided to, what projects to take down, I did take my designated stitch, but I didn't stitch a whole lot on it. For whatever reason, I allowed myself a little grace and a little break, but I did get some stuff done on it, just not a huge amount. And so here we are. I have a deer to put next in front of Santa, and then I have all the little things that are stitched in the toe box there. And then the next step will be to create the stocking. So it's back to designated stitch every evening, and I really have enjoyed that that program I set up for myself. And here's the actual pattern by Shepherd's Bush. And Acorns and Threads kitted the whole thing up for me, which I absolutely loved. What I can tell you, though, is when I thought about another project to take with me, I kind of went outside the box a little bit. I went and looked at my whips, and I thought, which whip would not require frogging? I know, isn't that funny? Is there such a whip? But yes, which whip would not require frogging? And the reason for that is that I thought, this is how my process went when I was trying to decide which whip, is I looked at the whips and I thought, which one of these whips would not, no one would know. No one would know. Yeah, if I stitched off one or one was a mistake, no one would know. So I chose this project to take with me. Bent Creek. Those trees, they're just individual little stitches. So if I got off one or I didn't stitch enough in a row, no one would know. So I said, this is the perfect project to take on the road. And I stitched 6 trees. I just really love this. I got this again at Acorns and Threads, and this is 32 count Belfast linen smoky pearl. And there's Janine's little note that tells me what project I was buying that fabric for. She knows that I'm going to go, what the heck? But now I'm passionate about it. It's like the one I'm working on during the daytime. Not the designated stitch, but it's like I don't want to stop stitching it because I want to frame it. And really, off a stitch on one of those trees, no one will know. Yeah, no one will know. So this was the perfect, I can't show it to you because it's too little, but here's a rookie mistake I made. I didn't bring extra supplies. By that I mean no extra needles, and so at one point I couldn't find the needle, and so I'm looking all over and I'm like, oh my god, and there's not a cross stitch shop or a shop that would have those kinds of needles anywhere near where I was. So I was like panicked. I said, that's such a rookie mistake not to do. I mean, I have all these needle books and little sewing cases and stuff, so why would I have done that? I don't know. I forgot my blood pressure cuff, and my doctor asked me to take my blood pressure every day. You know, it's just sometimes. Yeah. And no, I have not found my iPad or the floss. So be sure when you're traveling to pack extra needles, because let me tell you, this needle, oh, I wish you could see it, but it's so fine because it is the eye of the needle, the top of the needle is bent at a 60-degree angle. I don't know how that happened. And then the actual eye of the needle is collapsed in the center. So threading it was really challenging. I mean, the poor thing. I kept making, whispering sweet nothings to it and telling it was my favorite needle and it'll be okay. You can do it. Yeah, bring extra needles. Extra needles, definitely. And I have a little light that just stays in the band so I don't have to think about that, and glasses that are in there. But yeah, needles. I need a sewing box for the van. Ooh, that's another project. Yeah, yeah. I'll have to figure that one out. So that was a very satisfying stitch to bring along. I am continuing as I wrap up this month to celebrate my birthday, and I have gotten some wonderful cards. This is from my older son and daughter-in-law. Look at this. You'll get a kick out of this. This is probably the only way you'll, yeah. Only way I'm getting carded, yeah. And next week I'm going to be gathering at the beach with a bunch of nurses that we all retired, but we all worked together back in the day. And we're going to hang out for a couple days and just enjoy each other's company. But one of the nurses I worked with makes cards, homemade cards. And I love homemade cards. And she doesn't write. When she sends me a card, she doesn't write in it. And she asked me, why did she write on a Post-it note? And I said, so I could use the card if I wanted to. But look at this card. Is that not gorgeous? I just love it. I might have showed you already. I don't know, but and then this one totally cracked me up from another nurse that I worked with. Based on our past questionable decision-making, it seems quite an accomplishment. We've reached this age. Yeah, I know. Let's see. And then I got my first Halloween card of the year. Is that not cute? Yeah. So it's been an exhausting week. I did work on the iPad that G got me for my birthday, and I started to put into it a project that I'd already started. And this project was gifted, this pattern was gifted to me, and I had started it for G. It's an old pattern. I mean, I showed it to you before, 35 cents. Well, I loaded what I had already stitched, and so this is going to be, you know, I hadn't gotten very far, so it was not a lot of trouble to load the pattern into Pattern Keeper and start marking it, what I had already done. And so this will be the first one that I use the Pattern Keeper in. The other thing that happened while I was on the road was the Jingle Ball. If you don't know what that is, go on Instagram and just search the Jingle Ball. It's this wonderful, wonderful event that happens in December. It's Zoom. You have all these designers that have come together, and they're giving online classes, and then there's all these Zoom rooms set up that you can move in and out of and talk to people that you may not have ever met before, but you might find your new best friend in there. And Lindy Stitches is the head baller, and so this was the thing. I told G, we're on the road, and I said, at this particular time, I have to not be distracted by any details of what we were doing. I had to go online and register for the Jingle Ball and try to get the classes that I wanted. Right, I mean, right when, like within 3 minutes of that 4 o'clock time, we're pulling into the second winery. And so I'm like telling him, I'm not going to be able to go in and register yet. You're just going to have to park out here while I do this, because it's timed. It's like all of those retreats that we want to go to. You know, it's just timed, and so I can only concentrate on that. So it took me 3 tries because, of course, I'm at a winery out in the country. I have 1 to 2 bars. Yeah, so I was stressing and I entered the stuff 3 times. So luckily I got my ticket for the ball. I am going to be a princess at the ball, and I got into 1 class. And so I was and I didn't even try to go back in and get to any other class because that was stressful enough trying to do it 3 times. So I am really excited about, I'm just trying to find, I wanted to tell you which class I'm going into. Oh gosh, now I can't find it, huh? Let's see, maybe it's under my other, I have 2 email accounts to keep track of. Okay. So, okay, it's the banner class with Hello from Liz Matthews. I'm very excited about it. I thought they were adorable. And I have my ball tickets, so I'll be able to go in and out of the Zoom on that weekend. And then Acorns and Threads is actually having an event during the day in which you come and hang out and watch the ball together, which is, I think, is going to be fabulous. Fabulous. I'm just hoping I don't have any snow issues at that time I have to drive. So what else can I tell you? Oh, I'm just grateful. I'm grateful. I'm so grateful that I made it home, and next week I get to see old workmates, which will be awesome, and I'm going to be taking projects with me. Other than that, stay tuned for winter, and we'll see you next time. And thank you so much for all your comments. It's just eye-opening for me, and I'm so grateful. And I love the banter that goes back and forth, because isn't that how we expand our world, is by listening and maybe understanding how others are thinking and feeling. And so, yeah, it's all good. Okay, we'll see you next time around. Thank you so much, and I love you guys.